Welcome to the study session for the City of Abilene. Today's date is July 20th, 2020. Due to COVID-19 and social distancing, we are encouraging viewing all meetings virtually on the live stream City of Abilene's YouTube page. The City Commission study sessions are for the purpose of providing the Commission the opportunity to study items in more detail. And this is an open forum. Is there opportunity to bring up items to be informally addressed? Does anyone have anything to say at this time? Okay, we'll go to first study item is the solar panel discussion. Carlo May? Am I saying that right, correct?
Close enough.
Okay. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure.
Yeah, and I'll kick it off with a little introduction. This
Sure
is
thing.
Commissioner Witt. And so this solar panel topic started in my head when I first started on the commission and went on that facilities tour. The different aspects of the city. And when I was actually at the wastewater treatment plant, noticing how large of a fenced off area that we have, and it's just big open field out there, I'm like, I know solar panels are growing in capability and lowering in cost, and here's a bunch of open area. I don't know if it's a good area for solar panels or not, but that's when the thought kind of kicked in my head, and I've been rolling it around for a while. And one day I was having a conversation with John Koloff, who's in the room, and he recently just installed solar at his house, and we picked up the conversation and ended up getting connected with Carlo here, and to just kind of present us with some information on to see if it's something that can save the city some money in the short and long term. Because from looking at those checks every month that go through our agenda packets, one of the biggest one is our utility bills, and it tends to be around $40,000 a month from what it looks like. So if we can save something on that, then that'd be great. So this is the first time I'm seeing all this information that everybody else is about to see, and I'm excited to hear what Carlo has to say. So.
Yeah, thank you. Again, my name is Carlo Miave, and the company that I represent is SunSmart Technologies. We've been in the Midwest for the last 8 years.
Excuse me. You may have to speak into the microphone a
Could I
little
get
bit closer, so that way, there you go. Thank you.
Is this better?
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So again, we've been in the Midwest for the last 8 years. I, as a solar energy professional, have been in the industry for the last 14 years. And we service all of Kansas and Missouri, mainly in the commercial and industrial space. We also do a little bit of residential as well, like we did the solar for John's house, and he's the one who connected me with Trevor. When it comes to solar, at least my goal for you guys is to see, is there any opportunities for me to help you guys save money on these electric costs? So in an attempt to do that, Trevor gave me access to the last 12 months of utility bills for the different accounts that you guys have for the city. And I analyzed each of the accounts and identified 22 viable sites. And the things that I'm paying attention to are the usage characteristics of each site, as well as the potential location to put the solar panels. Because the first thing when it comes to solar that I look at is, how much energy does the particular account or meter use? That kind of gives me a gauge on how many solar panels that would offset that much usage. The next thing I look at is going to be, where are we physically placing these panels? Is it going on a roof? Is it going on the ground? Where do you guys want them to go? And the third thing I consider is going to be, the financial impact of it, the financial performance. And so what I have in front of you guys is the complete analysis of the 22 sites. So I don't think we have time to go through each one of them today. But if you guys, I can kind of walk you through the different parts of the package. So the first page is going to be like a table summary of the 22 different sites that I identified. And then as you flip through it, I have a financing package for you guys. So it is going to be a government municipal lease. And it has its advantages to this non-debt finance program to where, you guys would, own the system outright, but finance it over the next 20 years, excuse me, back to the bank. And the cash flows are on the next page. And as you can see, I have a couple different options. As you can see, the system cash flows itself from day one, which is nice, which means that you guys would save money on the electrical costs from the first year. And then I also have other options where, there's a lot of flexibility with the financing where you can actually start making your payments 12 months in arrears. So you guys can start utilizing the solar system before having to make any payments. So you guys can start realizing savings before you have to make the first payment to the bank. And then the next couple pages talks about our solar performance guarantee plan. And that covers, so in all of our pricing that we offer, for the first 10 years, we're going to cover all of the preventative maintenance and guarantee the solar system's production. So that means that if the system doesn't produce, roughly 95% of what I say it's going to, the third-party company would write you guys a check for that difference. And essentially what I'm trying to do is eliminate as much risk as possible with the system. And this company also offers, 24/7, monitoring. So if there's anything that they noticed was, wrong with the system, they would identify us immediately and we would come out and fix it without you guys having to be involved at all. The next few pages after that is going to be, a detail of each individual of the 22 sites. And, I had my designer place panels on the property. Again, this is just us placing panels on a satellite image. You guys could give me any kind of feedback on location of where you guys want it to go. We can customize this to however you want it to be, how you want it to look, anything else like that. The next few pages after that, after you go through all the preliminary designs, is going to be the detailed analysis of each individual site. And I kind of have it detailed, the solar panels on that property, the amount of electricity that they're going to generate throughout the year, how it relates to the last 12 months of usage that I got from the utility bills. And then the pages after that is going to be the savings analysis. The first one is like a yearly snapshot of, this is how much electricity the panels are going to produce. This is the rate of electricity they're offsetting, and then the yearly savings. And the next few pages after that are going to be a detailed breakout of how I got those numbers. So I was able to kind of rate model how you guys are currently being charged, and then show, okay, if you had a solar system for the last 12 months, this is how it would have affected your bills. This is what you would have saved. And then did that for each of the sites. And then if you go all the way to the back, it kind of talks about the summary of all 22 sites, the total amount that you would save, which is also on the finance cash flow, where it shows, this is the, yearly payments you guys would make, and here are the yearly savings. In the last few pages as well. So we're a complete turnkey operation. So everything from start to finish we would handle. And so I kind of detailed out, what that means in the last pages of everything that our proposal is encompassing. So I'm not sure if you guys have any questions that I could address off the bat. I know it's a lot of information to kind of go through and look at, but I'd be more than happy to answer any while I'm here.
Our largest consumer site is?
The largest one is the wastewater treatment facility. And so you'll notice that I have a couple options on there. The wastewater treatment facility is also the cheapest electricity that you guys currently buy. So I have the savings analysis of one option is let's cover all 22 sites, and then have another option that's let's do all of them but the wastewater, just to kind of show you what the savings would look like. In both options, you guys save money from day one. It's just the option without the wastewater, you save a little bit more money. And the main reason, again, is just because we're offsetting much cheaper electricity.
This is Commissioner Witt again. You had mentioned that included in that, the pricing that you've listed out is 10 years of preventative maintenance and all that?
That's correct, yes.
Right. And then the projections are showing out to 25 years. And so looking at the full life cycle of this equipment, what would that 15-year gap of maintenance and repairs, what would that look like?
Yes, the main reason why we do 25-year financial analysis is because that's the warranty life of the solar panels. So the warranties of the panels say, hey, we're going to produce, at least this much electricity over the warranted period. So I also have that modeled out, the warranty in the production numbers, for the system. So that's why we do that. And then after the 10 years, you guys are, it's a third-party service that I'm essentially prepaying the 10 years for. So after the 10-year mark, you guys would be, open to either continuing that service or discontinuing. Just depends on what your experience has been with it.
Thank you.
I have a question for you, Jane.
Okay.
Doesn't this need to go before the Planning Commission and certainly the Heritage Commission for City Hall?
I'm sure it has a number of steps before anything is ever decided, but I know that this was something Trevor had talked to me about, and knowing nothing about solar, we thought it was best that you all get the same information, and then once we have the information, we can go through it. Yes, there are all kinds of next steps before anything can be done, for sure.
Without those steps.
Pardon? Oh, absolutely not. This is information only. There is no action to be taken with this right now.
Yeah, one of the feedbacks I'm looking forward to is also from Lon from Public Works, and just as his team's able to get this information in their hands to chew through it and see what their thoughts are, in addition to the Planning and Heritage Commission and checking through all that. Absolutely.
This is Jane Foltz, City Manager. Yes, with 22 sites, that's quite a few sites. We have wells out throughout this area. There's a lot that needs to be looked at after receiving this information.
Yeah, and Lon will be heavily involved, I assume.
Absolutely.
All right.
And I'd be more than happy to visit these sites, with you guys as well, to kind of take a look at them, boots on the ground. Most of the information I got was just off the utility bills and looking things up on your guys' parcel map viewer, as well as Google Maps.
With this building, in particular City Hall, are a historic district, so we have to be mindful of that.
Sure.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Marshall.
Yeah, and if there's any requirements that you guys may have, we're very familiar with working with historic districts in
Yeah, the
terms
Heritage
of,
Board will look at
in
that.
terms of, making sure they're not visible from the street or anything like that. Whatever guidelines you guys have, we can work within.
Okay, thank you.
This is Jane Foltz. I also think the finance piece is very important. Marcus hasn't seen this. I haven't seen this. This is the first we've had our eyes to even look at it. It's a lot of information. And so we really need to sit down, take some time, and look at this, have Lon look at it. He hasn't seen this. So again, this was for information about solar energy use by the city of Abilene.
All right, thank you.
I just have a quick question. So this is a 25-year benefit. Is that what I'm reading, correct?
I have detailed out a 25-year analysis.
Okay.
And again, that's because of the warranty on some of the equipment. But the usable life, I fully suspect to last a lot longer than 25 years.
What was the bottom, Commissioner Marshall, what was the bottom line? What's this going to cost?
It depends on the two different options. So the first option in doing all 22 sites, the cost is roughly 1.8 million.
How much?
1.8 million.
Okay.
And again, the financing plan that I have is going to be 100% financed. So there'd be no money out of pocket, so to speak. And there are options with the bank to make your payments in arrears. So you guys could be saving electricity, well before you guys make your first payment.
And what was the second option?
The second option was doing 21 of the sites, so just not the wastewater facility. And that option was 1,260,000.
So 1.3 then, okay.
My question is, let's just say it's 10 years down the road, and there's an upgrade in the system. How does that work? Because technology will always change. And I'm thinking 25 years is a long time span, so a lot can happen in that time span.
Sure.
Let's say 10 years, there's a new resource or a new upgrade to this. What happens then?
That's a great question. So again, at the end of the day, what we're really talking about is electricity. So the panels themselves, is just a piece of equipment that generates a product, which is electricity, that you don't have to spend with the utility companies. So if they're, the systems that we design and engineer are fully expandable. So if you guys end up using more electricity as years go on, we can always add on to the system. So if there's new technology that comes out, it's less of an issue because it would just be generating electricity the same way you already are. So there would be no need if the panels themselves are already fulfilling your guys' energy needs to upgrade at all.
Commissioner Marshall, there's no components in there then that going to need to be upgraded? Electronics, computerized stuff, anything like that?
There could be some components that would be upgraded over the time.
And that's on us?
That would be covered. So in the plan I'm offering, the first 10 years, everything would be taken care of. So if there was any, faults or failures of any kind, that would be 100% covered.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about anything that has computerized components in it always need updating. And I'm sure this has something like that in it. Everything does. What happens when those need updated? When the technology's ahead of our equipment?
So if
makes it run.
if the technology that was installed were to become like non-functional, then we would come out and replace it within the warranty periods of that equipment. So if it happened, well beyond the warranty period, then you guys would be responsible for the cost of replacing it, which would be pretty minimal at that point.
And how long was the warranty?
On the
Different
solar
on different
panels,
things.
the solar panels is 25 years. Inverters typically come with a 10-year standard warranty with the option to get a 20-year
Okay.
extended warranty.
So pretty lengthy.
Very lengthy, yes.
Okay.
This is Commissioner Ryan. What do you think utility costs are gonna do in the future?
So I have it modeled out to where I'm making the assumption that utility costs are going to rise at about 3% a year on average.
That's about what they're doing.
This is Commissioner Witt again. So with just this real basic introductory information that we presented, been given, does the potential for this cost savings look like something that we want to have staff look into, staff spend their time on, and also start to figure out what the timeline to this would look like? Because looking at, I think it's one of the last pages here, page 121 of, right now with his prediction, with Carlos' predictions that he has out for that 25 years, we're looking at $4.4 million over the next 25 years of cost savings. And what that says in my head is that's a whole bond project of working on some of these other things that we've got in front of us, whether it be streets or other infrastructure. So yeah, that's my question to the rest of the commission, is if this is something that we want to have staff continue to look into.
I think it's, Commissioner Marshall, I think it's worth the time to put it before the boards and study this. I also think our department heads, particularly Marcus and Lon, need to be involved looking at this stuff too. It's going to take time. We just can't say we want solar.
The only reason I would be hesitant is because of the public, their input, seeing 1.8 million. And I know there's savings, but right now we're going through, of course, COVID-19, and people are hesitant to put money out to save money, if that makes any sense. To me, it's a project to look into, but you need to get some feedback from public, see what they say, because especially to give priority to certain projects, we need to think about that too.
Sure.
That's
And again, the municipal lease that I'm presenting you guys with for the financing would be a non-debt lease. So
okay,
wouldn't
none what? I'm
a
sorry.
non-debt lease.
Okay.
So wouldn't count towards you guys' debt ceiling or anything like that. Because it's a very similar lease if you guys leased fire trucks or police cars or anything like that. Yeah, my biggest goal was that we don't have to, or I wouldn't have to cost your taxpayers any money, and just start saving them money from the get-go.
This, Commissioner Marshall, I think that's a great benefit, and I'm not so concerned about the money. I'm worried about our ignorance at this point. That's why I want
Sure.
everybody to see it.
This is Commissioner Ryan. I'm definitely interested in having both Marcus and Lon kind of look into this. I mean, I know Lon's combing through it right now, and be really curious to see what Marcus thinks about the financial aspect of it, because from just looking at the numbers on the paper in front of me, it looks like it could be a pretty staggering savings. And like we had talked about, the utility costs continue to increase, and 3% a year, that could, you give 7-8 years down the road, it could be more like 4 or 5% a year with that merger that went on when that falls
Sure.
off. So I'd definitely be interested in looking into this further.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments right now?
This is Lon Schrader, Public Works Director, and I have a question.
Lon, I think you're going to have to talk closer.
Right
a
into
little bit
it like
closer,
this?
Yes, thank you.
Would you be, and I haven't had time to look at this, but does this provide maybe some references and some other communities that we might visit with that have done something similar? That we could, if we start researching, that we might be able to contact some other folks that you have handled business with, so we can kind of see how that's working.
Absolutely. We can even organize a site visit if it gets to that point.
Okay.
Commissioner Schaefer, I'm supportive of a study of it anyway.
Looks like we need to move on and have a little more information with other groups.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's Too much information study
Yes.
session.
So, but we appreciate you coming and giving the presentation.
I really
and
appreciate the time, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
Sorry to
And we-
bombard you with so much information, I just had a lot to share. And if there's any questions in terms of the financing, if there's any follow-up information that you guys would need, I'd be more than happy to send more info.
Thank you.
Okay.
And this is Finance Director Marcus Rothschild, and I think, yeah, as we've had a little time to study and review, I think, with the commission's guidance, we'd be happy to continue to provide you with some information. So, yeah, and ask more questions as we've had time to absorb a little bit more of the detail. So,
Perfect, thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Thank
Carla.
you.
Next item is the audit contract renewal, and City Manager Fultz.
I will let Finance Director Marcus Rothschild address this, as he worked with April to go forward with this recommendation.
and at the end of our audit this year, April did provide the contract renewal, so I had reviewed that, and so it's been 5 years since our last agreement, and so it's basically just time for us to renew. I was looking at it, I think, timing-wise, I think there's one of our items that on a service contract that we actually go out longer for is our audit services, because of the time it takes to get familiar with your audit company and for them to understand your systems and have a knowledge of all of that. And so at this time, with the discussion we've had recently with potentially changing our financial software, utility billing software, and all those items, I see some benefit to continuing some service with them at this time. And so I thought I'd bring this to you because we can always go out to bid, but there's a part of me that thinks the value of knowledge right now might be somewhat more important than actually just some simple cost savings, because it may save us in the long run during a transition. So thought I'd bring this to you. It has the 5 years on there, but if you do want to look at shorter term, she's open to that. She just put this on as kind of the regular agreement that we've shared in the past. So if you have any questions.
No, this Commissioner Marshall, I think we need to just go with the 5 years, because it's going to be at least that long until we get software, and our software's funky, and she's already trained to pull those things in for us. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Commissioner Witt, I totally agree as well with the time investment they've already made in figuring out the ins and outs and difficulties with our current software. I think, yeah, if we're happy with them, let's continue using them.
And another piece, I know in the past we would usually try to look at local options, and I know currently there's not really any local firms that are actually still doing municipal audits at this time, and so that's another piece of it where it kind of takes away from the desire to just look for some of our local people that could handle that as well. So.
This Commissioner Marshall, again, I still think we need to just stay put. She understands our problems with the software.
I agree with that too, with what Trevor and Dee have both said. We need to have some continuity, and it'd be great just to keep that the way it is.
This Commissioner Marshall, Jane, is this something that could go on the consent agenda?
Yes, very easily.
Do you want it?
Yes, well, are we all in agreement to keep it? Are you in agreement? Okay. Go ahead with consent agenda. Okay, next item, memorandum of understanding with Dickinson County for civic center use. City Manager Fultz.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, this is Jane Foltz, City Manager, and this is a memorandum of understanding with the City of Abilene and Dickinson County for the use of the Civic Center during their remodel. They will not take occupancy of the Civic Center until after the general election. And anything that is needed there, any facility changes, it's going to be a very bare bones move for them. They will have 6-foot tables. The building has fiber optics already. They will move in there for, they're hoping until May, 5-6 months. Due to COVID, we know that people aren't having large gatherings. Julie's income for the rental of that space has been very minimal. When we thought even to consider this, those were some of the details that we talked about. So I asked the county if we could have some type of agreement in writing for you all to sign off on, and they will return the building as they found it. The parking will be easy. They're within a few hundred yards of their current facility, which made it even more pleasing. They will also be using Sterl Hall, but this is for their, I believe, admin will be in our civic center. And so I think it's a very neighborly and good faith effort for us to work with the county as they move forward on their renovation and remodel.
This Commissioner Marshall, Jay and I agree with you wholeheartedly. We have a good relationship with the county, and we want to maintain this. This is a small thing to do.
I just have a quick question. How many bathrooms do you have at the CVB, Julie? I hate to ask that, but when you have a whole group of people like
We
that.
have one at our end of the building that the chamber and the CVB use, and then at the visitor center side, we have men and women's, and there are multiple stalls in each. So it's actually gonna be more bathrooms than the county has currently. They're
Well-
pretty excited.
For less
that-
people.
Is that going to be open, that visitor center? I guess what I'm asking is the visitor center going to be open to the public?
At this point, we're not. Visitation does not dictate for it to be open, and right now our funding is just not in a great place.
Okay. So what happens if that changes?
Then we would have county staff, and we would also have visitors at the same time,
Okay.
using the same restrooms.
All right.
At best, last year, we had 2,900 people come through. Obviously, visitation is not that right now. Transient guest tax collections are down more than 50% for last month. So we're just playing it day by day and trying to be responsible with our finances.
Because that could all change and then,
It could certainly change, but we're willing to, all work together in this.
all right.
Well, this Commissioner Marshall, it's a
Yes.
big building. I think we could figure that out if we needed to.
I think so, absolutely. They've looked at different configurations, and I think we have some good options.
All right. Anyone else have any questions further for the Civic Center? That could probably go on the consent agenda.
Right? Thank you.
Okay. Next item, a resolution fixing a time and place to appear to show cause why the structure at 413 Northwest 3rd Street should not be condemned and ordered repaired or demolished. And that would be up to Travis, is that correct?
Yes, I will let Travis speak to this, as this has been he told me today, when he started, he was part of this project, so he will explain many details to you. And this is the repair work that is going on right now at 413 Northwest 3rd Street, otherwise known as John's Upholstery.
Excuse me, this is Commissioner Marshall. I know there's work going on. Are they starting to replace those bricks and things that are starting to fall out? Okay. Thank you.
This is Travis Stearman, City Inspector. I started with this on October 11th of 2017. That's when it was first brought to my attention about the front facade. Since then, there's been an ongoing battle, I guess you could say, trying to get something done with that building. Finally, in February of 2019 is when the actual building permit for the work took place. The building permit, he put a false wall inside to keep the building up standing while he took the front facade and the bricks out. That false wall, he did that within the time frame of the permit to be valid, but then that's when the work stopped.
Excuse me, Travis, how long is the permit good for?
A year.
1 year?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have our city code states that work has to start within so many days. It may be 6 months or something like that. That's what the due date was with my, I can look that up, I guess. The due date with it of the first inspection would have been in May. So he had to start work within a certain amount of time for the permit to be valid. So he did that. And then pretty much all work stopped after that. I couldn't get nothing to happen. It was always, yeah, I'm going to start this. Yeah, I'm going to start this. So as a staff, we decided to take this to the city to get a resolution to get something done with that building, so and to protect the public, basically. That started this year with my letter that I sent. And then this would be the resolution for having that work to get completed. I think staff and I have the same opinion on this, is if we stop now on the building, we may be looking at that building like that a year from now. I think the city still needs to proceed on with all its findings. If whatever the commission decides to do, as in a time frame for him or whatever, get that accomplished so we have something done and something can happen so we can move on this if we need to protect the citizens.
This is Commissioner Marshall. We've been working on this project a long time, and I don't see any reason to give him more time, because same thing's going to happen. He'll work and then he'll quit. And this building is a danger to the public. I think we need to act.
I totally agree.
Was he made aware of this meeting?
He was not made aware of the study session, I don't believe. I
But
think
he
he
will
was
be
made
made
aware of the
Next meeting?
of the
Okay.
public hearing.
All right.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Witt, and yeah, from the looks of this resolution in front of us, that public hearing would be in September, and so I think that gives us also good time to, if we decide to pass this, we should also be seeing progress as I've been seeing over the past month or so of them working on the building. So I think, yeah, this is still needed to add some accountability to the situation, but so far it looks like they're continuing to work. But yeah, I still think we need to
This Commissioner
move this
Marshall again, I
forward.
personally know him, and I know how it's going to work. We just need to do this and get it done. Because if we set deadlines, we get a little bit done in that deadline, then he'll quit. Then we'll be back over again. We just need to act.
This is Travis Stearman, City Inspector. I have tried. Is all I can say with this. I've tried, and this was my. I don't want it to go to this, but this is my last resort for what I could do. So.
Commissioner Marshall again, Travis, I know you did. It's just one of those things. That's just the way this one works. We just got to do this.
The feedback I'm getting is why isn't this finalized? Is the feedback is that people are tired of looking at it as they drive by. And it's a sore spot, it's 3rd Street, everyone drives by that. Our visitors and local people, and they're just tired of, tired of the project and tired of not moving on.
There's lots of
with it.
complaints about it. A lot of complaints.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments or questions for Travis? Okay, thank you, Travis. Next item is the Northeast Drainage Project easement. City Manager Foltz.
Thank you, Mayor. So with the resolution, we will put that on the regular agenda. Are you good with that?
I am.
Okay. So the Northeast Drainage Project easement, this is our second easement that we needed to get for the Northeast Drainage Project up behind the, everyone knows it as the old Preem's Pride area, just to the east of Lumber Yard and that area. So it is ready for signature. With this, we can finish this first part, and we can then go to bid for that detention pond.
This is Commissioner Witt. Is that something we can put on consent agenda then? Or do we have to have that on regular?
I would think that it could go on consent agenda or regular. It's your pleasure.
I personally like it, since it's an easement, go on regular.
Okay.
Only in case anyone wants to make a comment, whatever. They have a chance to.
To speak to it. I agree. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, CDBG-CV Awards. Is this Julie Roller?
Well, thank you so much for moving so quickly through this process. Because you were so quick to approve our application and move forward, Abilene received $132,000 to grant to small businesses. As you can see in my memo, I have a timeline of how we've been moving through this process. We are one of the first cities in Kansas to be this far in the process. As such, the rules are constantly changing, and we're navigating those waters. We received 29 applications from individual businesses. 28 of those do qualify for the funding. And after reviewing all the different options for how you could break down that funding, it really appears the best way to go about it is to distribute those evenly per address. I think when we think of our goals are to maintain storefronts. And if we don't do that, we could have some empty buildings.
This is Commissioner Marshall. I was glad to see you did it this way, because I don't think it's our job to say, well, this business does more than this
No.
one. And I don't want to pick through it, and I think this is an excellent way to award the money. And I thank you again for all your efforts.
Well, there's so many factors to include, and I don't think there's another fair way to go about it as I looked at these applications. And they're all very eager for us to be able to move forward and get those checks out. The next step, like I said, this is moving really quickly and things are changing. We would have a resolution for next Monday just to approve how we will fund them. And then we would get award letters out and then ask the businesses when it would be appropriate for us to come and take a photo with the city commissioners and our big check. We have that ordered to try to get some positive publicity out of this program. But I know people are really excited. We can submit our request to the state to get the funds here, and then we could start writing those checks once people have the receipts. I know it's not a lot of money to some, but to many people it is a whole lot. And this could be the difference in being able to pay their bills or not.
Well, it'll help everybody that's been through it. I mean,
Absolutely.
money's money.
You know, in economic development, one of the first questions you get asked over and over and over is just, you know, what incentives are there, what funds are available? And normally there isn't a lot. And the chance or the opportunity that we have to bring a little bit of money to these, 28 businesses is a really big deal.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, thank you for all of your work on that. I mean, I think as we continue in this financial time, it's going to be very important to those businesses that were able to access these funds. So,
Every little bit helps.
Well, and it puts a spotlight on us, on you, for doing
Absolutely.
this.
The city of Abilene acted quickly. I know there are other cities and counties in the state that would love to have this funding. We had our award announcement before others had applied. So this is a really big feather in our cap for being able to move forward quickly and capture a little bit of our taxpayer dollars to bring them back here. So an award of, $4,700 apiece can be used to pay property taxes, can be used for utility bills, could be used for portions of payroll that haven't been covered otherwise. Inventory. I know some restaurants have food bills. This is going to help, get them squared away. And they're just really, really appreciative. Everyone I've worked with through this process, the businesses have been very kind and appreciative of what the city's offered them.
Commissioner Marshall again, I want to thank you and City Manager Jane Phillips, because I know you both worked on this, and it's just really great how quickly you responded.
Absolutely. If you would have thought, in the past and things, how quickly we're able to go through this process really is because of Jane and being able to get this before you guys and having, faith that this was a good program and something we wanted to be involved in. I'm just really pleased with how it's worked out. I wish we had more money, but I'm happy with what we have.
Yeah. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right?
Yeah, exactly. Do you have any additional questions?
No, but thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, I just wanted to, there's two handouts for the commissioners. One is from the league, and it's to the governing body. If you get time, you can get a chance to read it. And the other one is the handout is on the league news. The annual conference in October is not happening in Wichita. It's going to be a virtual conference. So just for your information. And the next item is City Manager Foltz.
Thank you, Mayor. So with that, the only one that we have going to the Governing Body Institute virtually at this time is Mayor Osterman, and that's on July 30th and 31st. So I'm sure she's got that in her calendar to attend that as well. And if anyone else wants to get in on that, please let me know and we can make arrangements. So just to follow up on Julie's report, we ask that you commissioners mark your calendars for July 27, 28, and 29. Those are the dates that we've set aside for your presentation of the CDBG CV check presentations for local businesses. So those who qualified and will be receiving funding, Julie will be coordinating this schedule with you. And we would like to have as many of you commissioners at those presentations as possible. That's where the big check is going to be. Also today we had an update on the work on 8th Street. The recent rains have slowed the project a little, and we should see curb and gutter work beginning after the 1st of August if there are no more weather-related delays. And also, after speaking with the county, we now have an update of our county COVID cases. You can see this. We will attach this to our website as well. It's also on the county website, but we were getting a lot of questions about where are we, how many do we have, how many have recovered. So they've done a really good job. They're putting this out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I do appreciate that. And with 51 applications for the Parks and Recreation Director position, we had 5 finalists, and I'm very happy to announce Kelly Timbrook will be our new Parks and Recreation Director with her official duties beginning August 3rd. We are very fortunate to have someone who has been with the department for 15 years and grew up with the department as we expanded. Previous to joining the City of Abilene, Kelly spent her early career working in recreation and leisure field in South Carolina and Scottsdale, Arizona. I look forward to Kelly's leadership as she works to shape the future of Parks and Recreation in the City of Abilene. Congratulations, Kelly. And she would be here, but she's holding down the fort by herself right now. So when you see her, please congratulate her. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have anything else? Just a reminder, wear your mask, save a business. Thank you.